My name is Soren Soe. I'm one of the co-founders for the Australian company CoilRig, and we are designing, building and manufacturing coil tubing drill rigs for geothermal drilling for installation of ground source heat pumps. And we have started doing that this year.
So what is unique about your drilling?
It's the drilling method of coil tubing drilling is very different from the use of conventional drill rods. It's an uninterrupted drilling method. So every 3 or 6 meters, you don't stop and start drilling, adding a drill rod. So it's more efficient and more productive. You also have a more continuous drilling process, which means you don't pulsate your borehole. So your borehole completion and your borehole stability is better than if you're using drill rods.
So what are the depth temperatures that the markets that you're targeting?
The market we're targeting is the shallow ground source heat pump market. So the rig we have drilled to just over 300 meters if you want to do that. And the temperatures that we are facing while drilling are not aggressive as you would find deep in the ground. So, you can say a good temperature is 20 degrees Celsius, but typically it can be lower.
One of the usual problems with coil tubing drilling is that the tubing gets worn down fairly. So is this something that your technology has addressed, and how?
You're absolutely right. The coil tubing fatigues like a paper clips, and we have addressed it in a couple of ways. First of all, we're using the right material for the process. Plus, we are putting the coil on the mast, which means we are reducing the number of bending events of the coil every time we go in and out of the hole. And compared to the other companies that are using coil tubing drilling, we probably have around 3 times the length of fatigue in our coil tubing. So that's how we address it.
So what are the other specific market pains or challenges this technology addresses? Perhaps in terms of logistics, footprint of the rig, price of drilling.
Yeah, it is a faster and cheaper way of drilling. First of all, you don't have all the handling of drill rods, so the improvement of safety is significant. What we do find, we've been doing a similar type of coil tubing drilling for a different purpose in mineral exploration for a number of years. And what we find benchmarking next to conventional drill rigs is that the fuel consumption and the drilling fluid consumption is significantly lower than if you're benchmarking to conventional drilling methods. What we are doing with our coil tubing system is we try to make it very compact. So if you compare to a conventional drill rig one-to-one, you would have to have a rod handling system that take care of all your rod handling automated. You would have to have all your drill rods around your drill rig, and sometimes the mud pump or the mud system is separate as well. We have all that combined in one unit, so it's very compact for the tools that you have that you need to do the drilling for the installation. Plus, we have some features on the rig that makes it possible you can, as soon as you have drilled your geothermal hole, you don't have to move the rig. You can install your GeoLoop and run it in. You can use a few features on the rig to assist with that. So it makes it very productive. And in the event that sometimes happen that the last 3 meters of your borehole has collapsed, it's very quickly to go in with a coil tubing rig and clean up the bottom and finish your borehole efficiently.
What is the status of technology right now, and could you give us a timeline for the development of it and for the eventual deployment?
Yeah, the development of the rig is pretty complete. There will be some commissioning of the first rigs we are building. They will be complete in the next 3 months, and they will be, our beach market and our first market for deployment of these rigs are North America. So they will be drilling there later in the year.
So aside from your first project, what are the other markets that you're targeting, perhaps in Europe, and what can you say about the potential for this kind of geothermal market here in the state?
Yeah. Seen coil tubing drilling of similar type, how it performs in other industries, I'm convinced that there's a great potential for drilling with coiled tubing drilling just because of all the efficiencies and safety features that comes in there. I find just by comparison that the North American market is a bit more adaptable to new technologies, plus coiled tubing drilling in geothermal is not 100% new in North America. There are a handful of companies that has, let's say, an older generation of coiled tubing drilling. So they are familiar with this. In Europe, when we would love to get into Europe, because we are convinced that it will be a game changer for the companies here as well. But we still need to find the first movers that are ready to deploy a different way of drilling shallow geothermal boreholes in Europe.